What's not happening there? What am I not doing? Yeah, dodgy lead. This is Sam and Neil coming to you from Northampton. Welcome back to another Phase Drive Vlogs. Today we're looking at Tubescreamers, both pedal sims and the real versions and their clones, just to see which we prefer and what the difference is between them. So just a quick reminder before we start, if you haven't already, please subscribe. We do uploads once or twice a week on all sorts of topics like audio production, video production, photography, all sorts of interesting stuff. So subscribe and get those automatic updates. Shall we have a quick talk through what we're using? So
yes.
Guitar-wise, Sam's got a 60s Barger, whatever, telly, and I've got my favourite Deluxe Nashville. So the pedals we're running is a Green Mile on Sam's
from Moore,
good old Moore, love Moore, and mine is the actual Ibanez Tubescreamer Mini. We're running the gain and the tone about 3 o'clock on all of them, all the pedals including the sims, and then the level we set according to the individual guitar. On the software front, we've got, I'm running the Audority Green Reaper pedal, which is a paid Tubescreamer sim, but very good, very flexible. I'll go through a little bit more about that in a minute. And Sam is running into the very good Mercuriall TSC.
My personal favourite plugin, by the way. Personal favourite.
The best thing about it, it's free. And it's a really good piece of kit. It's got sort of oversampling, high quality mode. It's got an 808 mode, a mod mode. We're just using the 808 mode, but pretty flexible. So on the Audority, the nice thing about this is it's got an absolute ton of mode. It's got all these little modes, so 316, Bronco Brown, BSM, etc, etc. Even a tube version to emulate the Tubescreamer. So yeah, very flexible piece of kit, but we're just using it on its default setting, and again with drive and tone at 3 o'clock and level set according to each guitar. So that's what we're doing.
Right, so without further ado, let's have a little listen to some of these wonderful tones.
Yes.
So we're going to start with the Green Mile, and we're going to compare that to the Mercuriall TS. What we got is this TSC. So I'm guessing that stands for TS Clone. We'll see. So yeah, this is Green Mile. Might help if I turn it up again. Right. So this is Green Mile. Okay, moving on to the Mercuriall.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Not a lot between them.
No, I can't hear a huge difference. There's something, but I think it's going to be one of those things where I probably won't notice the exact differences and the intricacies until I watch back the finished video and go back editing it.
Or it's mixed. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually just coming in, that's
not. I was expecting a bigger difference than that. Ooh.
Yeah, very interesting. All right.
Shall we look at the original Tubescreamer Mini versus the Audority?
Yeah, go for it.
Right, let's start with the good old Tubescreamer. So, here we go. Quite tasty.
Always good. Always a great sound.
Classic Tubescreamer, can't argue with that. Right, let's just see what the Audority can do. Not a massive. That's got a bit more kind of thickness and kind of mush to it. That's a bit more kind of sharp on the top end, but not a massive amount of difference. That's quite surprising. I mean, that's obviously a good quality sim, but and I can't remember how much it is, but I will put a link on the in the comments. But yeah, that's nice.
Well, also, if you couldn't tell, one of us has been playing guitar a lot longer than the other. See if you can tell which one.
Right, so by the miracle of editing, we suddenly swap places.
So yes, Neil, you go ahead. Try out the.
I've got it on the neck pickup now. So for a bit of show, I'm just going to do some. Okay, let's switch on to the TSC. That's got a little bit more kind of grit to it, and a bit, but yeah, that's within a mix. You'd be very hard pressed to tell. You can see
definitely.
So let's have a look at the. What do you think of the
Authority,
Audority?
right?
Audority have got the authority.
That's right. So we're going to start off obviously with the TS.
So yeah, same again.
TS Mini
neck pickup.
Oh yeah, I've joined Neil on this one with the neck pickup. So. Audority.
Alrighty.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's again. There's a definite difference each time, but it isn't like massive. It isn't. I expected more based on the rat test, where you know if you put the same settings in, the sim sounded very different to the actual real pedal. We got all the settings the same, and it does sound pretty similar. I mean, I'll be able to tell more when we've kind of mixed it a bit.
So in this room, you know, what you might be hearing in the video might sound slightly different to what we're hearing in this room, but just through the monitors, through like the room acoustics and stuff, there's definitely, as you said, a difference, but it's not like stark.
Yeah.
It's not like hell. And actually, probably the most difference we're probably finding is actually through the different pickups and the guitars. I think that probably is having more of an effect. That would be my guess.
But again,
anyway.
across the Green Mile and the Tubescreamer, not a lot of difference. Probably a bit more top end on the Tubescreamer, but again, not miles apart. You know, and considering that's what £100 and that's like 40 quid, that's pretty good gain. And again, you know, the TSC is a freebie. And
Exactly.
I can't remember what the Audority costs. I think it's about 30 quid, but we'll check. But again, you know, not massive amounts of difference. So very impressive. I mean, obviously the Audority has a lot more flexibility in terms of its modes, but you know, you're not necessarily going to use those. You're going to probably pick one you like or two you like and stick with it. So if you don't need all that, you know, different Tubescreamer modes, then the TFC is a bloody good piece of kit.
Yeah,
you know.
right.
So
With the final part of this, we thought we'd actually compare the two plugins. So we're going to be comparing
we're just comparing the Audority Green Reaper with the Mercurial TSC directly on this guitar. So it's the same pickup, same combination, and then you know we'll see where we go.
So on that one, and then onto this one as well.
So we'll do this one first. So this is the Audority, and then I'll switch over. This is the TSC. Yeah, again, not massive amount of difference. There's a bit more, seems to be a bit more bottom end, a bit more middle on the Audority. But again, they're not miles apart, you know. And so, you know, hats off to the Mercurial. Bloody good job. So, yeah.
Yeah. Right, so this is starting off with the Audority. Okay, yeah. Right, and now we go on to
TSC.
Mercurial.
I do like the sound of that.
Okay, that's interesting. For me,
Yeah.
there was something about the kind of response and kind of, I could feel it a bit more in the...
Audority.
I could feel a bit more in the Audority.
It's got a bit more, I think, bottom end thumb. Obviously, some of that's coming from the PZM Dr. Bonkers cab, which we love. Sorry, didn't mention that we are running, not running into the Amps own cab. We're running Red Wires Mix IR3 the cab with the Dr. Bonkers Dirty Shirley 1x12 with the PZM mic. So they get, basically there's a boundary mic you stick onto the cab and it picks up the kind of low cab rumble. You get a lot more bottom end and thumb, and we love them. So,
Neil has done a review on the Dr. Bonkers cab, so please be sure to check them out. Yeah, I think, the Mercurial one, I mean, I use that all the time for my recording, and it's really good. I love the sound of it, but the Audority, there's something about it. Whereas if you go to the Mercurial, it still sounds nice, but it just, I don't know if it's maybe just, a slightly hotter signal coming from the Audority, but there's also just, I don't know, something about the top end just...
I think it's got a bit more, for me it's got a bit more top end, but maybe even a bit more mid and bass as well. It's got a slightly kind of more forward and fuller sound to it. But, you'd expect a paid sim to, have that edge. But it's, again, it's fractions. It's not, massive. So the TSC is a very good piece of kit.
Oh, God,
yeah.
So,
can't argue that.
Right. So, there you go. Conclusions. What are we saying?
Well, like I say, I think if you want just a basic, straightforward Tubescreamer clone and don't want to pay any money, or you'd rather save your money, the Mercurial TSC works really well. But if you want something with the ultimate flexibility, we haven't really gone into the modes of this Audority, but I've played around with it, and they do all make a difference. There's lots of different tones in there. Some are more kind of ZZ Top, Billy Gibbons.
Gilly Bibbins. Is that our intro?
Always been a big fan.
Always been a fan of Gilly Bibbins.
If you're a fan of that Billy Gibbons kind of much more kind of meaty kind of raunchy sound, then you can definitely get it out of there. So it's in terms of flexibility, I think both stand up, and the fact they stand up very well against their pedal, their hardware pedal cousins, is a testament to the coding. So hats off to both of them.
Yeah, I think my kind of final thoughts are, I love using pedals, and sometimes I can get the sound I want when I'm recording, we're kind of more talking recording here. If you're gigging, obviously pedals and rail amps all the way. But if you're doing recording, then to me, if you're using everything software based anyway, it makes sense, given how good they are, to me, it makes sense to just use everything software based. Like sometimes you just can't replicate the pedal sound on the computer no matter how hard you try. There will be certain occasions, I do find like with the Rat recreations, I think maybe Overdrive is, you know, a bit more straightforward to recreate, but certainly with the Proco Rat one, of the ones I've tried, I just can't quite get the sound I want that I can get from the pedals. But with the Tubescreamer ones, I've found, having actually A/B'd this in my own recording sort of stuff, I've found that the software-based Tubescreamer clones, they do seem to sit much better in the mix, and they seem to record better, and I don't have to do so much to it. Whereas actually I find it a bit harder, even though they sound similar, when you actually go back and listen to it and taming the signal, I don't know, there's something a bit, you know, I probably would choose to use, for ease of use, I would probably choose to use the plug-in-based, the software-based pedals if I'm doing everything software-based, like IRs and stuff. But obviously if I was doing a proper recording in an ideal situation, yeah, I'd use pedals and amps and mics and stuff. But yeah, I think, you know, if you're doing everything...
I think the trouble with the miking up, you've really got to know what you're doing, because the slightest movement in the mic can really drastically alter the tone. So you've got to know how to set this up. This, you can just plug in and you can go. You know, I mean, I don't want to sound rude, but any old idiot can get a good tone out of this, even me. Yeah, and the fact you can get that close. I mean, we are recording and doing running projects at 96 kilohertz, 32-bit float. So you are getting the plugins running as good as they possibly can, and I think that makes a difference to the sound. So yeah, I'm impressed.
I'm impressed. Yeah. So it's not going to replace doing things properly, but if you're kind of learning, and certainly the learning curve, and if you don't have the ability and the knowledge, certainly learn to do that. I think it's good to learn. But if you want something that sounds good now, that you're not going to be kind of tearing your hair out because you can't get it sounding quite right, this is probably a better solution. The whole, you know, IRs, cab sims, amp sims, software pedals, for kind of getting that stuff initially is probably the best bet. But then when you want to kind of take it up a level, doing it for real if you can, I still would say is ultimately the better solution.
Or if you're in a situation like we both are, where you can't turn it up to 11 and blow the windows out, because you know, you'll get you'll either end up in a divorce situation or with very angry neighbours. Then you know, it just makes sense. The fact you can do it and do it to a level of quality where you'd be very hard pressed to tell the difference unless you're, you know, a top-notch engineer with very good ears. Then it kind of makes sense. And the fact you can do it very cheaply. You know, these aren't expensive bits of kit, and some of them are free. So why wouldn't you? So, yeah.
So there we go. Let us know what you think, if we've missed anything, or if we maybe could have compared something different. We'd love to know what you think. We'll be doing more of this stuff. We're filming a load next couple of days.
Oh, yes.
If you're enjoying the series, obviously, please do subscribe. It helps us out tremendously. We love doing this sort of thing. And if there is a type of pedal or some sort of different thing you'd like us to sort of compare, we're really enjoying the real pedals versus software stuff at the moment. That's our that's our thing right now, as well as obviously cameras and stuff. If there's any kind of pedals you'd like us to compare, you know, physical versus software, then let us know in the comments or on Facebook or wherever we share it. We'd love to hear some thoughts.
Cool.
Right.
That's all from us.
I think that's it. Till next time. See you later. Oh.
Good night.